Hello Facebook. Hello YouTube. Good evening. Hello and welcome to the Library of Mythical Ireland. I'm Anthony Murphy. This is Live Irish Myths. This is episode 133. Tonight we're talking about numbers. Curiously enough, it is the 4th of January and it is a new year. It is 2021. Happy New Year to everyone. On YouTube this evening, Triskel Harth says Banachti Jehe Grieve Akarja. Thank you, Triskel Harth. Happy New Year. Good evening to you. Welcome along. Daisy Peters is in the house once again, and throughout 2021, my best thoughts to all of us, dear Tua and our families. Lovely message, Daisy. Welcome along as always, not often, always. Sandrine, I always pronounce that Sandrine as if it's French. Sandrine Brady says, Bon année, Anthony and Super Tua. I hope everyone's fine. Best wishes for all of you and your families, and clinking glasses and shamrocks there in the emojis. Thank you, Sandrine. Bonsoir. And is it Bonne Année? Happy New Year to you. Archaeoastronomy Database is in the house. Greetings, friends, one and all. Good evening to you and welcome along. Joan McCage says, good evening and Happy New Year to all from Howth, Bin Eder in County Dublin. Hello, Joan. Welcome along. Happy New Year to you. Gillian Stapleton says, hello, everyone. Hello, Gillian Falche. John Main says, Banachti on tour from a cold Baltimore. Looking forward to an evening of enlightenment as ever. It is indeed. It has been a cold spell here in Ireland. You might have seen my icy picture of Newgrange this morning on the Mythical Ireland page on Facebook. The Full Irish GK says, Ternonoa, good evening all. 3 is the magic number. Yes, speaking of numbers, says Joan, the woeful COVID numbers in Ireland today and yesterday. Yes, 4 times higher than the highest peak we saw in 2020. So it really is a fairly dire situation here at the moment. Deborah Williams says, hello, Happy New Year to all. Many happy returns, Deborah. Welcome along. Lillian Cruz says, hello from Rio, Brazil. A happy 2021 to all in the group. Thank you, Lillian. Happy New Year to you. Welcome along. Naomi Serafina is in the house. Offline Fivoshic and Anthony. Good to see you all too. Greetings from Portland. Hello, Naomi. Many happy returns. Komani Gigiv. Or even Ditch. Judy McQueen on Facebook says, hello, hi, Judy, Happy New Year. Pilar Goldstein Day says, Happy New Year. Falcha. Donna Jean Porter is in the house. Falcha. Donna. Chris Delaney Cooney says, Happy New Year. Anthony Slauncher, Chris. Kelly Edmiston says, I love you. Thanks, Kelly. I could say I love you too, but my wife would get jealous. Nick Casterton says, hi, Anthony, and all the wonderful Tua. Happy and a hopeful New Year to you all. Yes, indeed. Keep the fingers crossed. Hope that you're feeling well, Nick, after your recent under the weatherishness. Paul Alburl says, hello from Daphne, Alabama, on the Alabama Gulf Coast. Well, good afternoon to Alabama. Hello, Paul. You're most welcome. Margaret Kiernan says, hello, all. Chilly night in the Irish Midlands. I imagine it is. It's chilly all around, isn't it? Mariana Dunn says, greetings and New Year's. Best wishes to Artua and Anthony from Virginia. Falcha, Mariana, great to see you. And Scott Doherty, long time no talk. Best part of my Mondays. Hello, everyone. Great to see you, Anne. And you're very welcome. Happy New Year. Susan Scott says hello to all the Tua. Wishing the best to all and Happy New Year. Many happy returns, Susan. Ralph Waldron. Evening to Taoiseach Gohana 4 on show and you. It is very cold in Ath League. It is also very cold in Drogheda. Sean McGowan says hello from North Chicago. First time live. Enjoy the content you put out. Welcome, Sean, to Live Irish Myths. Happy New Year to you. And yeah, don't forget to keep coming back and enjoy yourself. And of course, you'll be made very welcome by our lovely community. Barbara Barney says, hi, Anthony, and hi, everyone. Falcha, Barbara, Falcha is Jock. Barb Jordan is in the house. Hello, Barb. Been there since episode 1. Great stuff, Barb. Burr Whelan says, Happy New Year, everyone. Falcha, Burr, and many happy returns. Shay Cunningham, Happy New Year to the Tuaregs. Hello, Shay, and Happy New Year. Aaron Durrett is in the house. Hello, dear Anthony and Tua. Happy New Year and love to all. Gra Moore, Oriv Golair. Thank you, Aaron. It's great to see you. Neil Hughes and Mary are in Coatbridge in Scotland. Happy New Year. Tay August Fion Jarrah, get the ready. Here are some numbers. A hain, a doe, a tree. Brilliant, Neil. Happy New Year to you both. Aisling Kane says, it's lovely here in Florida. Nice and cool. Just back from a long run. Yeah, Florida. I tell you, that's the place to be at this time of the year. You know, not further up the coast of New York. No. Or in Chicago. or in Boston. No, none of those places. Get yourself down to Florida. It's only a short hop down the road in a car, isn't it? Probably not allowed. Samantha Healy, well, we're not allowed to go more than 5 kilometers, but I suppose, yes, don't get political, Anthony. Samantha Healy says, good evening, Anthony, and all our Tua family. Happy New Year to you all. Hello, Samantha, Sláinte. Margaret McKenna is in the house. Hi to all in the Tua and Happy New Year. Many happy returns, Margaret. Good to see you. Your output lately has been prolific, and it's great to see. Yvette Tillema says, Happy New Year, Anthony and Tua, sending love through this keyboard. Lovely, Yvette. Thank you and welcome along. Nick Eska Casterton is feeling better. Thank you. Brilliant. Tom King says, good evening, Anthony and the Mighty Tua. It's numbers tonight. Count me in. I see what you did there. That's nearly as bad as one of my jokes. Valerie Gallagher says, greetings. Almost. Hello, Valerie. Daisy Peters is here on Facebook too. What an innovation. Daisy is popping up all over the place now. Can't get enough of us. Susan Mullen Lacerna is glad to be here from Raleigh in North Carolina. Hello, Susan. Welcome and Happy New Year. Elizabeth van der Meer says, good evening, Elizabeth. Elizabeth from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Hello, Elizabeth. Fáilte Isteach. Anne McCallum says, hello, Anthony and the Mighty Tua de Anton. 2021 greetings from balmy 2 degrees. It was both a delight and a privilege to be able to listen into your thoroughly engaging conversation with your friend Richard Moore. Looking forward to the second one. Yes, the first one at the moment is only available to Mythical Ireland patrons at patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. The second one is due to be uploaded in the next couple of days. So keep your eye out for that. I'm going to paste that link in for anybody who wants to become a patron and support the work of Mythical Ireland and get early access to the goodies. Please do consider becoming a patron for as little as $5 a month. You can get rewards. Deborah Williams is saying hello to Daisy, Ashling Kane. I can't wait till we get a big group photo one summer of the whole lot of us. Wouldn't that be brilliant? Yes, indeed. In the meantime, there might be 1 or 2 events coming up that will have to be done on Zoom. Keep an eye out for that. We might be able to do a screenshot of everybody. Elaine Dent, Lingenfelter's in the house from a coldish Texas. Happy New Year. Indeed, many happy returns, Elaine. Barb Jordan says, me and Main Squeeze Louise, your faithful listeners. Main Squeeze Louise. I just think that's a class name for a dog, Paul Terry says, always enjoying from Wisconsin. Will return hopefully in June. Let's keep the fingers crossed, Paul, and let's give you a big welcome when you do get here. Grania Viclochlon says, hi, Happy New Year from Sligo. Many happy returns, Grania. Good to see you. Lovely part of the world, Sligo. Oh, so many beautiful mountains and megalithic sites. Brendan Ivoricu says, great to be here with you all. Happy New Year. It is always an immense pleasure to welcome another Murphy into the Murphy Library. You're very welcome along. Jacinta Paisley says, Happy New Year, everyone. Hello, Jacinta. Paul Garron says, good day, Tuha. Subliminal messaging again from the young Ratoath resident there. I don't know what he's talking about, but I'll figure it out. I will, honestly. It's probably something really obvious. Jackie says, hello, everyone. Fáilte, Jackie. Sláinte. Movanwe Millward says, Happy New Year. Tua and Anthony. Nude da. And I'm sure that's the worst Welsh impression you've ever heard. Freezing in mid-Wales, but I got the fire blazing Tom King style. Hope you're going to make us some jewellery. Hope you're well and still recovering. Desiree Riley and Nick Eska Casterton. Yes, a shout out to Desiree. I haven't seen her so far. I hope that she is good. Mark Munoz says, hello all, Fáilte. Yes, indeed, Mark. Welcome along. And back on YouTube, Astro Gypsy, who is Kevin in the Midwest USA, is here and says, hello all. Hello, Kevin. Stella David says, is here. Hi there from London, England to you all. Hello, Stella. Luke Tracy is in Nova Scotia. Hello, Luke. Good evening to you. Sue Prenter is, evening, Anthony. Just have Boris Johnson sharing some more lockdown news for Great Britain on the TV. Oh, more bad news. Oh, look. Let's hope this is COVID-19's last hurrah before it gets kicked out of everywhere. Elena says, hello from the Great Lakes. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Many happy returns. Merritt Braun says, Happy New Year to all here too. Greetings from Switzerland. Great to see you. And greetings to all my friends in Hotel Bravo 9. That's a ham radio prefix for Switzerland. Some of my Swiss ham buddies would get that. But yeah, beautiful part of the world. Cici Lapa says, Happy New Year from Boston in the USA. Hello, Sissy. I hope it's not too cold up there. Mandy McCurl says, hello and happy new frozen sea here. Brr. There'll be no Nora Gaffney O'Connor won't be swimming in that sea, so she'll be skating on it. Serena Swift says, good afternoon from the very grey day in the Pacific Northwest. Well, we had a brightish day with some heavy showers, Serena. So looks like you're duller than us at the moment, but you're probably a little bit warmer. Joe Mack is in Nova Scotia in Canada. Tons of snow here. Send a little bit of it across. My wife loves wintertime snow. She wanted a white Christmas. The best we could do was a very slightly white New Year's Eve. So, what are we on? Apart from red wine. Is there cheese with that, Neil? Never mind. I'm in giddy form tonight. Episode 133, and we are on, let's call that 11 minutes. Okay. For the YouTubers who do not like having to sit through the greetings when they're watching the video back afterwards, I had a woman giving out yards about it the other day. A really long post giving out about it. Oh, Desiree Riley's in the house. Hello, lovely two. Finally starting to get a little bit better. Thanks so much for all the love from everybody, especially Paul Gowan, Movanui Millward, Tom King, and Joe Butler. Desiree, keep her lit. Hope that you're on the mend well and truly, and that you'll be in shipshape form for our next broadcast. Teresina Fitzpatrick says, howdy from Frosty Mayo. That's the theme in Ireland tonight. Everywhere is cold. Good evening and Happy New Year, Teresina. Florence Perotto says, hi from France. Happy New Year, everybody. Bonsoir, Florence. Florence, is it? Henry Paddy Shearman is in the house. Long time no see. Henry Paddy, hope you're in good form. Happy New Year. Tonight we're talking about numbers in Irish mythology. Specifically, we are going to delve into some of the work of one of our favourite of all of the people who have written about Irish mythology. Can anybody guess? Michelle How Dion says, hello from sunny Florida. We are jealous. We are jealous. I just said a few minutes ago to somebody else that Florida is definitely the place to be in terms of the weather, not further up the coast like in Boston or New York. Anna Christina says, hey there, hola from Mexico. Always learning with this page. Brilliant, Anna. You're welcome along, and Happy New Year to you. Welcome to Live Irish Myths, episode 133. Kelly says, I really love you. Prove it. Don't. That's a joke. That's a joke. This is the work of our friend from the Oxford Dictionary of Celtic Mythology, the one and only James MacKillop. So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky tonight, and I'm reading from this wonderful book, which was put together under the stewardship of the late, great Patricia Monaghan. It's called Irish Spirit, originally published by the Wolfhound Press in 2001. And Patricia Monaghan, I think I might have mentioned before, it was at one time a member of the Irish Stones Yahoo email group. Don't know if you remember Yahoo groups. They're gone now completely. This is before social media became a thing. There was a group of us, an eclectic group of scholars and chancers. I'd be definitely one of the chancers. And we had long and winding and interesting conversations about Irish megalithic sites, mythology, alignments, astronomy, cosmology, all that stuff. And it was a fabulous place to be, virtual space, a little bit like this, except for, in the old days where you sort of had to send an email to a group, and sometimes all the other emails would appear under it, and it was so funny, This is so immediate, Back then, in 2000 and 2001, which is when it was really active, maybe 2002, I had to hook the computer up to the phone line and wait for dial-up before I could even get onto the internet, to check messages. So everything's so immediate these days. You get a ping, somebody sends something and you get it there in no time, Matthew Trapp says, can I buy that book online? I'm actually not sure, Matthew. Irish Spirit, edited by Patricia Monaghan, Wolfhound Press. Yeah, so I don't know whether you can or not, but maybe if you find it, maybe you'll share the link with the others, because other people might want to have a read. Anyway, this chapter is by our good friend James McKillop, and it's called A Primer of Irish Numbers. Okay, just checking that everything is... Rory O'Sheen says, Giovich to Fulcher, Rory, welcome along. Stella David says, that book looks interesting. Yes, indeed. We've been sharing some very funny images of big libraries lately on the Mythical Ireland community. I shared one yesterday that has, it's in, I think, Dorset in England, and it has 22,000 books. And I am on my way towards the 1,000. And it's like 22,000. It's something to aspire to. Regina Riley says, hello from cold and frosty Longford. Stay warm, stay snug by the fire, Regina. Put a blanket around yourself, grab yourself a cup of tea, do what you need to do, keep warm, keep well. Leon Lake says, I'm barely technically literate. This is the only internet I know. God bless you pioneers in 2001. Yeah, I think I was saying back then I used to have to scan. I used to take photographs, on slide or print, on negative, and bring the negatives to the local photo shop to get developed. Then get the photos and put them on the flatbed scanner, scan them into the computer, and then reduce the resolution. So much easier these days, so much easier. Mandy says it's freezing and there's no internet. Watching on my phone at a friend's house. Immediate, not here. Mandy, you're in Mull, aren't you? Yeah, Mull is kind of detached from the Scottish mainland, isn't it? It's kind of like, out there. So you're halfway into the Atlantic, aren't you? Halfway to Ireland, halfway to backward land. James McKillop is an American-born Scottish Gael, descended from Jacobite soldiers who stood at Culloden Moor. Former president of the American Conference for Irish Studies, he is the author of 6 books, including the Dictionary of Celtic Mythology, Oxford. Brilliant stuff. In modern English, we use the word digit to mean both finger and number, and we are never confused about which is which. The word derives from the Latin digitus, which could mean either finger or toe. The digit as number is one of the 10 symbols or logograms that we use to count from 0 to 9. Arabic numerals that entered Western culture after ancient times. But digitus could hardly have meant logogram, which did not yet exist in the West. Latin and earlier English usage reflected the Indo-European pattern of employing numbers from 1 to 19 as adjectives rather than nouns. One finger, one person, one clan. It is as if all counting under 20 existed in algebra story problems. 2 men fighting, 3 horses racing, 4 princes contending, blah, 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 and a partridge in a pear tree. Sorry, I apologize. I won't do that again, I promise. In such a context, a number is not only enumerated, it defined. Terry Lynn Zacharias is in the house. Please, where are we reading? Yvette, pay attention at the back of the class there, please, and stop interrupting. It is called Irish Spirit, Pagan, Celtic, Christian, Global, edited by Patricia Monaghan. What it is actually is a collection of essays or chapters by a selection of writers. I think Patricia Monaghan contributed a couple herself, but it's split into sections, and each section has a title. So section 1 is The Time of Stones, part 2 is The Cup of Sovereignty, part 3 is The Coming of the Cross, part 4 is The Troubles, part 5 Global Green. And so the chapter I'm reading is by James McKillop from chapter 2, or from part 2, The Cup of Sovereignty, and it's called a primer of Irish numbers. In early Europe, people could touch the numbers they used. Huge numbers that we can write effortlessly. The amount of a lottery prize, the national debt, or the light years to a distant star were unknown. To signal that they were dealing with an extraordinarily large number, people favoured multiples of the known and palpable, as we find in the Bible 12 times 12 instead of 144, or 40 times 40. Common speech did not employ a numerical count. What's 40 times 40? 1600, is it? Common speech did not employ a numerical count for what could not be experienced. That's fascinating. Barbara Murphy, G.S. Muraguch, I hope I did that correctly. Yes, you did. And always, oh, sorry, James McKillop appears in that book. Yes, indeed, he does, Yvette. Sorry, yes. Maybe I wasn't clear about it, so I do apologise for chiding you. And that is a disgraceful attitude for me to take with such a good student who's always scored very well in her exams. There'll be an exam at the end of this episode, by the way, folks, so pay attention. So I'll just repeat that last sentence. Common speech did not employ a numerical count for what could not be experienced. Really incredible. Aisling Kane says, I enjoyed reading The Irish Spirit, Proverbs, Superstition and Fairy Tales by Lawrence Flanagan. And we have Morwena Blogs in the house, and also Paula Snow Queen. Debbie, he's saying hello and Happy New Year from Michigan in the USA. I found the book here on Amazon. So there you go. There's a link there. Thank you for that. Yes, we are indeed sending out our very best wishes to all of the people who have been sick lately, especially the COVID-19 sufferers. You know, let's hope everybody gets well, and let's hope we all get the jab soon enough, and we can say goodbye to this thing. The identification of counting and fingers is what gives us the decimal system. Early societies, where many people went barefoot or wore open sandals, favoured the vigesimal system, counting by 20s. Thus, 20 means 2 tens, 30 means 3 tens. Old Irish, unique to the Indo-European family, shows vestiges of a quinary system, counting by fives, or by one hand, or in Roman numerals, v. 5. No, that's 2, and that's 5, isn't it? 5. Cuig. The Old Irish Daik, D E for the EC or D E for the AC, Jack, means literally 2 5s, and that, of course, is the Old Irish precursor to the word je, D-E-I-C-H, which is 10. The Irish would eventually adapt to the decimal system, but in their earliest calculations, the people of Hibernia did not mimic their fellow Europeans. Good to hear that, Desiree. Nothing like a bit of Mythflix to make you feel better. Some of their native initiative can be seen in the powers attributed to 3, and also 3 times 3 or 9, and 3 times 9 or 27. And haven't we often seen that in episodes of Live Irish Myths, where we've seen that number thrice 9 and 27? I always say that it's interesting because it might pertain to the cyclical, the sidereal movement of the moon through the sky, which takes just over 27 days. Philomena Breen is in the house late, as tuned into Boris update. That's okay, Philomena, completely understandable. We haven't long started the reading anyway, so don't worry. Jeg, is it, how do I pronounce that, Movanwe? Deg, D-E-G, is it Jeg in Welsh? So a similar name. The significance accorded such numbers resonates throughout many early narratives. No tract on early Irish numerology survives. Neither do we hear of a tradition of esoteric or occult knowledge attributed to certain numbers. Yes, hard D, thank you. What we find instead are patterns of attributions. People, animals, or objects are often cited in groups of 3, 9, or 27. The reader senses that this is more than a coincidence or a convenience of logistics. We sell eggs by the dozen because they stack conveniently or neatly that way, not because of an ancient mystique for the number 12. 27, however, is not especially handy, nor is 9, but they relate to one another. I do think that in the Neolithic period, and again, I would have learned this on the old Irish Stones email list on Yahoo 20 years ago, that the best way to count when you're counting lunar sequences, and especially when you're trying to count the intervals between eclipses, is using 5s and 6s and 12s and 13s. And the 12s and 13s reminds me of the dozen and the baker's dozen. They're entirely natural numbers. Competing systems of numerology in the West ultimately fall into two tracks, one originating in Greek tradition, the other in Hebrew. Irish calculations tend to favour the Greek or Pythagorean 6th century BCE, which sees numbers as clues to an underlying structure of the universe. The repetition of numbers in different circumstances enhances their value as indicators of an order beyond the visible. The other, most associated with the Jewish Kabbalah, asserts that the number of letters in a person's name contains an essential truth about him or her. Such a belief also assumes that nothing pertaining to the person is random or indifferent. While a quasi-Kabbalistic belief in numerology retains a substantial following today, there is no trace of it in early Ireland, perhaps because so many Irish names lacked standardized forms and spellings. Rex Fortenberry is in the house. Good evening to you, Folge. Rory says, I was actually just studying Greek numerology and divination today. What a coincidence, huh? What does this thrice 50 mean in Irish mythology? Daisy Peters is asking. It usually just is a way of denoting a large number, Daisy. You know, I think, but we'll get to it, hopefully. Guitarcheology says, my Irish grandfather implied some sort of significance being the seventh son. Yes, and the seventh son of the seventh son was always the one that was immensely talented in certain esoteric regards. Sean Harding in Kent says it's nippy. Good evening to you, Sean. Ag Ryan says 9 is an important number in sacred geometry. Interesting. The Hellenistic world and the Celtic world don't seem all that different, says Leon Leach. While a quasi-Kabbalistic belief in numerology retains a substantial following today, there is no trace of it in early Ireland, perhaps because so many Irish names lacked standardized forms and spellings. Yes, indeed, we've encountered that too. Place names and character names from mythology often being able to be spelt with a dazzling array of possibilities. But repeated, and combinations of letters, but repeated citations of the numbers 3, 9, and 27, as well as the numbers 5, 12, and 17, imply the shadowy outline of a vocabulary with connotations that a number might carry. Irish numbers may lack the assurance of the Kabbalistic numerology, but there are intimations of a discernible order. Fascinating. The value placed upon numbers may vary widely. 9 elevated above 8 or 7, for example, but nothing suggests a break in inexorable numerical succession. Pardon me, never 3 before 2, nor 4 before 3. The solitary number 1 having no associations, it is with 2 that we begin. to count. And so this from here on, he's talking about specific numbers. 2, not an often cited number. 2 carries implications of service or servitude. The she of Aengus has 2 pigs, that's Newgrange to you and I, one living, or Sheed and Broga, should I say, one living, the other cooked and ready to be eaten. In the 12th century vision of Aengus, the hero encounters scores of young girls, chained together 2 by 2. The hated breasts in the Battle of Moytura, and thank you to Morgan Daimler for joining us in episode 132, our last full episode of Live Irish Myths, speaking about her translation of same, carries 2 silvery pointed spears. Cuchulainn is often accompanied by 2 ravens, skilled in druidical secrets, who announce his presence to the warring hosts. The hero Fionn McCool is usually trailed by his 2 hunting dogs. Barbara Kling is in the house in Vermont. Hello, Barbara. Happy New Year and welcome along. Bran and Skjolin, who are by descent his own nephews. The 3rd dog, Lomar, is sometimes added, but storytellers preferred that 3 be 2. In Christian times, St. Bridget and St. Patrick were known as the 2 pillars of the world. No other saint, Columkill, for example, was ever designated a 3rd pillar. And so we move on to the number 3, the favourite number of early Ireland, whose full citations could probably fill an entire volume. The prestige given to the number 3 is hardly unique to the Irish. Pythagoras cites 3 as the perfect number, signalling beginning, middle, and end. And I guess a load of you are thinking, as I am, tri-spiral, 3 spirals at Newgrange. A tripod or 3-legged stool, as for the Pythia at Delphi, is stable and will not rock. 3 can represent life, male, female, and progeny. And again, I'm thinking about Newgrange, Dagda, Bowen, and Aengus Og, or if you prefer, Lou, Dechtine, and Setanta, and time, past, present, and future. Donna Fearer joins us from Maryland. We'll catch the whole episode later today. Hi, everyone. Hello, Donna. I learned a couple of days ago that Donna, whose name I've been pronouncing Donna Firer for months and months and months now, is actually pronounced Fearer. So there you go. Donna, delighted to see you. Welcome along. Happy New Year. 3 evokes both the physical world, sky, earth, and underground, and space, before, behind, and right here. Myth theorist Georges Dumézil argued that the symbolism of 3 reflected and tripartite division. The symbolism of 3 reflected the tripartite division of early European society: farmers, warriors, and clergy. Kimberly Halligan's in the house. Happy New Year, Kimberly. Pablo Miguel is in the house from Argentina. Good morning, good afternoon to you, Pablo. Happy New Year. Triple deities are found widely in pre-Celtic Ireland, as suggested by the 3-faced stone head found at Corlech, County Cavan. Earlier still, the great passage grave at Newgrange features interlocking spirals whose number is 3. Alex Casterton is also on, says, sorry we're late. We had the latest national announcement on here in Albion. We are back in full lockdown. Hope you and the tour are all well. We are also here in Ireland in a full lockdown, and our numbers have just absolutely skyrocketed. We had over 6,000 positive cases today. The highest number of positive cases we had in either of the previous lockdowns was around 1,500. So it's 4 times the highest rate it was in 2000. So it's a little bit worrying, but at the same time, let's all stay sensible and stay indoors and do our best to stave it off and keep it from our doors. And those of you who are unfortunate enough to have it or have had it, best of luck in your recovery. Royal Tara Ranger says, Ismisha. Hello, Paul. Happy New Year. Good to see you. The Gauls and Celtic Britons in pre-Roman and Roman times worshipped deities whose tripling anticipates those of the Irish. Just in case it's not mentioned, we should really also mention the triune tutelary or guardian, or what would you call them? Yes, I suppose guardian is a good word. The goddesses of Ireland, Banba, Fola, and Eru, as mentioned in Laura Gowalla, as being the ones with whom Amergin petitioned on behalf of the Milesians, excuse me, to allow them to arrive into the country. A triad, you could call it, but a triune is better, 3 in 1. Excuse me. Yes, anyway, I was saying, I interrupted myself. I won't do that again. Maddie McCurl is urging everybody to stay safe. Correct and right. The Gauls and Celtic Britons in pre-Roman and Roman times worshipped deities whose tripling anticipates those of the Irish. They may be three-faced, like Gaulish Mercury, who was also triple phallused. Sometimes they are tightly linked to one another, forming a triad, like the mysterious hooded genii Cuculati of Roman Britain. I'm sorry, I've never heard of that. The names of 3 important Gaulish gods, Esus, Tyrannus, and Tutatis, are mentioned together so often that the Roman poet Lucan asserted that they must be a triad. And Roberta is talking about the maiden mother crone aspects of the Cailleach. Yes, indeed. Early Ireland was represented by 3... here we go. I shouldn't have said anything. By 3 female deities, Eru, Banba, and Fola, who appear together in the pages of the great legendary history of the island, the Laur Gowalla, the Book of Invasions. There are 3 gods of craft, Crejne, Govnu, and Luchta. Clachta, patroness of a great medieval assembly held in County Meath, was raped by the 3 sons of Simon Magus and gave birth to triplets. Excuse me. Linked to the great County Armagh hill fort Owen Macha are 3 possibly divine heroes named Finn, known collectively as Finn Auna. The ferocious British pirate Inchael Caich, who sacks Da Durga's hostel, not difficult that, has 3 pupils in one terrible black eye. Joseph, is it Vendry, Vendrys, asserted in 1952 that triune figures, trinities or 3 figures seen as one, often have a single dominant personality and 2 ciphers. I would say Eru in the case of the 3 guardian goddesses of Ireland, on account of the fact that she is the one whose name is primarily given to Ireland. Adele Perth is in the house. Sorry, late to the party. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy New Year to a first live I've caught in a little while. Good morning, Adele. Happy New Year to you. Welcome. Fáilte. And Desiree is confirming that COVID is no joke. It ain't no walk in the park, folks. Keep yourselves safe. He alludes to early Irish dynastic records that cite triplets, all with the same name. This argument may well pertain to several triads in mythic literature, such as the 3 goddesses named Macha, who all have separate stories and distinctly different husbands. So it is with the 3 figures known collectively as the Morigna Bob, the supernatural crow-like woman who visits places of battle before and after conflict. What was it Morgan had translated in Caught My Chura? Raven Garden? No, Raven Field, was it? Something to do with, the raven picking the flesh off the bodies after the battle. Macha, herself a triune figure, and the Morrigan, the great goddess of war fury. Despite their seemingly discrete identities, they are always associated with one another and are easily confused. Cipher-like 2 are the 2 brothers of Naoise, lover of Deirdre. Those 2 brothers, and we did relate the story of Deirdre and the sons of Uisneach in a couple of episodes. I can't remember which ones they were, but they should be easy to find. Those two brothers, Arden and Ainle, stumble awkwardly in modern romantic adaptations, where it makes little sense that the tragic queen should run off with the three men. Taken to its origins, the story may not tell of three men at all, but rather one seen three times. Kathy May Deo is in the house, says hello, Mr. Anthony Antua, on my lunch break to join you all. Hope you had a wonderful new year. Yes, indeed. Having a good one so far, Kathy May. Stay safe and healthy. Happy New Year to you. I hope it is a healthy and prosperous one for you and, of course, for all of the Tua around the world. Triplism also shaped learning in early Ireland. The fascination with groupings of three unites with the need for mnemonic devices to produce a pattern of versification known as the triads in both early Ireland and Wales. The monumental Welsh Triod Inis Pridad, my pronunciation is undoubtedly appalling, the triads of the Isle of Britain, deals with weighty questions of native learning, poetry, law, and medicine. Linda Moore is in the house, only able to stop by to say hello to all. Happy New Year, Linda. Good to see you. In contrast, the 9th century Irish Treching Bre Féine, or Triad of Judgments of the Irish, numbers only 214 examples, some of them dealing with geographical information or with homey but witty paradoxes in the observation of natural phenomena. Further evidence emerges in visual expression predating the beginning of writing. The style called Latin flourished in Europe from at least 600 to 200 BCE. Its influence spread to the British Isles and continued until after the advent of Christianity. While characterized by swirling complex forms as well as an obsession with an S-shaped figure, Latin also demonstrates a fascination with triplism. Three-tined decorative figures adorn jewellery and metalware. In some instances, the figures may be elongated, with one tine stretching off in the distance, disguising the distinctive triplism. In Latin style, we also find the original for that intricate woven together figure that appears in much later Celtic art, including early Irish illuminated manuscripts, the Celtic knot. It flourishes today in popular culture, from earrings to skateboards. And it has three tines. Three-tined figures provide national symbols for two other members of the Celtic family, Brittany and the Isle of Man. Brittany, an independent Grand Duchy until 1532, has several such symbols, the best known of which are the sign for the ermine, a black stroke the shape of an evergreen tree with three narrower black strokes emanating from the tip, and the trefoil, more pertinent in this context. In the Breton instance, the discrete spirals of this trefoil join at a central point in what appears to be a design taken from an ancient megalith. The Manx Triskelion probably derives from non-Celtic sources, as the concept and the very word for it are Greek. The version found on this island in the Irish Sea is homelier than its classical antecedents, with a slightly bended knee and a shod foot. But it is the triplism of the figure that attaches it to the Isle of Man. For instant recognition, of course, the trefoil and triskelion falter when compared with the shamrock. Its use is wider than that of the harp, as seen on the coinage, or the green, white, orange tricolour, itself modelled on the tricolore of Republican France. Strangely, there is no hint of triplism in the word's etymology. The modern Irish shamrogue, the diminutive of shamar, clover, was the same in Old Irish semar, S-E-M-A-R, clover, and shemrach, little clover or shamrock. Adina Sparks is giving waves and virtual hugs to everyone. Did I miss something? Tamar K has some very good advice. Eat your veggies, wash your hands, and don't lick strangers. Thank you for that. That's from your grandma. Hello and love from Mendocino County. Hello indeed. Welcome along. I don't have a picture. There's no pictures in this chapter, Barb, unfortunately. I missed, I think. I missed somebody. At some point, I missed. I can't find the original comment. Anyway, good evening to Vicky and Evan, who I didn't know were there, I don't think. Good evening to you both. Coda says hello as well, by the way. Sheila Moylan points out that hazelnuts come in a cluster of 3. Didn't know that. Deborah Williams is saying we did have a troll on YouTube, but they were reported. Exactly the thing to do. The Irish shamrogue and the English shamrock are both generic terms for similar appearing trifoliate plants. On St. Patrick's Day, the Irish ambassador gives the President of the United States a bowl of what we would elsewhere call wood sorrels, Oxalis acetosella, of the family, yes, Oxilidaceae. Some botanists on here will be saying, don't tell me he can't pronounce that. And welcome Column Nestor as well. Which means that this is the official shamrock, but shamrock can as readily apply both in Ireland and elsewhere in the English-speaking world to any of various plants of the pea family, such as white clover and suckling clover. A similar ambiguity dogs the shamrock status as an analogue for theological instruction. Every school child knows the pious legend of St. Patrick explaining the divine mystery of the Trinity to the native Irish, who already had their own associations with triplism. It is also true that the shamrock, in whatever form, is part of the regreening of the island taking place in mid to late March, a cycle that predates the advent of Christianity. In its modern usage, the shamrock seems shorn of its etiology. There are no implications of faith when it appears on tourist gimcrack, on upmarket Belique ware, or on the tails of aircraft flying for the national airline Aer Lingus. Like the trefoil and triskelion, it is more national than Christian. Yes, certainly. And a few people saying hello to Coda. Yes, certainly do not. Excuse me a moment while I just kick out the... Thank you. Good luck. I see the comment to which you were referring. That individual has now left and will not be troubling us anymore. There's always one. And now we move on to the number 4. In Tommy Makeham's song, 4 Green Fields, the 4 provinces of Ireland that we have known since the Renaissance are implied: Munster, Connacht, Ulster and Leinster. There are 4 provincial halls at Tara. Emblems for the 4 are commonly placed in quadrants of the same frame. Earliest Irish records count the numbers differently. The Old Irish word for province, caicage, CE actually means fifth, as in 1/5 of a whole. And so it is with the modern Irish cuaige. Sometimes the additional province may come from counting Munster twice, one for East Munster, a second one for West Munster, or more commonly the area along the Boyne, in Old Irish Mea or Meaja, coextensive with the modern counties Meath and Westmeath, can be considered a province by itself. One, pardon me, and I shall get another drink of water. One explanation for this juxtaposition of 4 with 5 is found in the Lower Gawala, in which early invaders divide the island among 4 sons, followed by later invaders who divided among 5. The divine Tuatha De Danann have 5 leaders when they confer before the Second Battle of Moytura. Alwyn and Brinley Rees, heavily influenced by Georges Dumézil, write in their study Celtic Heritage, and we have an episode of Book Talk about Celtic Heritage, that 4 represents the farthest corners and 5 the centre of the whole. Yet 4 is juxtaposed with 5 even when there are not specific references to the map. Aaron Durrett rightly points out that only in Ireland does 4 equal 5. Yes, and in the old days before Google Maps, if you stopped at the side of the road and you said, "Can you please tell me the way to Ishnock?" the farmer at the side of the road would look both ways and scratch his head and say, "Tell you what, if I was heading to Ishnock, I wouldn't start from here." Yet 4 is juxtaposed with 5 even when there are not specific references to the map. Niall Muighiolach is called Nile of the 9 hostages because 5 are from Ireland and 4 are from foreign lands. In other instances, 4 can have currency when not juxtaposed with 5. It takes 4 men to lift the eyelid of Balor of the Evil Eye. Angus Og, the god of love and poetry, has 4 kisses that are changed into as many birds. Fiachna MacBaichoin, the Ulster king, asks for security of 4 cows when dealing with the king of Lochlan. In the Toynbo Cuilne, after the hero Cuchulainn finishes his tryst with Fidelm, he leaves 4 heads of slain enemy by a ford of the river as a warning to invaders. And so we move on to the number 5, which is the same as number 4, according to the previous rationale. Although it lacks the glamour and power of the number 3, the number 5 can imply certainty and strength, perhaps a vestige of early Ireland's quinary system. The classical commentator Diodorus Siculus observed that the ancient continental Celts held sacrifices every 5 years. As Peter Beresford Ellis notes in his Dictionary of Celtic Mythology, Fionn McCool counts in 5, as do the people of the Sidhe. There are 5 masters to each art. Cuchulainn has 5 wheels painted on his shield. The mysterious Fiachna at the Second Battle of Moytura sports a 5-pointed spear, as does Ailill in the 8th century Toynbo Frech, an antecedent of the epic Toynbo Cuilne. And we read Toynbo Frech in a couple of episodes as well of Live Irish Myths. Tara has 5 different names. Paul Garrett says, so bloody true, as you get a 25-sentence answer of help. As mentioned above, 5 often seems to vie with 4 in calculation, as if it were a correction or improvement of 4. It's so very funny. Somebody asked the other day, how long would it take to get from the Boyne Valley? No, how far is it from the Boyne Valley to Ishnock? And I did the typically Irish thing. I said it was about an hour and a half. And that is such an Irish thing. And I only realized that when you go abroad, it's only when you realize that when somebody, of course, it now is the day of Google Maps, so nobody asks anybody for directions anymore. But in the old days, make myself sound like an old fella, suck on a pipe now. And Marie Lendon is in the house. Hello, Marie. In Ireland, I remember we went into a tourist office in Letterkenny. Myself and my family were on our way to the Downies, which is in the very north of Donegal. We were going on a holiday. And we stopped into the tourist office and said, how far is it to the Downies? And they said, oh, it's about 45 minutes. It's like, I didn't tell you how I was getting there. I could be going in a rocket or an airplane or a helicopter for all you know. You know, I could be walking, I could be cycling, I could be skateboarding, I could be going on a flicker. But no, clever girl, she said 45 minutes. She presumed I was going by car. She wasn't wrong either. Rather than say whatever the distance was in miles, 25 miles or whatever. We in Ireland, it's a historical thing. We would give distances in time rather than in mileage. As mentioned above, 5 often seems to vie with 4 in calculation, as if it were a correction or improvement of 4. The tightest unit of the family is the Gaelfinne, comprising an innermost circle of 5 persons. Cormac MacArt encounters a fountain with 5 salmon, and Cunla's Well has a fountain with 5 flowing streams. As Ellis also notes, there are 5 great roads in Ireland, 5 provinces, 5 celebrated hostels, 5 paths of law, 5 prohibitions, for provincial kings. Marie says she was watching older episodes on YouTube and lost track of time. You'll have to set your alarm and make sure it's a recurrent alarm. 45 minutes, but what if I'm walking? Oh, you take a lot longer then. Yeah. Thanks, Paula. And we go on to the number 6. As the double of the magnificent 3, 6 has a surprising lack of utility in early Irish narrative. Emer, the wife of Cuchulainn, possesses the 6 gifts of womanhood. And straight on to number 7. That's an interesting correlation, Aaron, in relation to the 5 roads leading to Tara, correlating with the rivers of the Well of Nuadu that Cormac looks into. Very nice possibility. Well spotted. 7. The potent magic accorded to 7 in the Middle East and the Eastern Mediterranean preceded Irish tradition and inevitably influenced it, although the lines of communication may be hard to trace. The powers attributed to the 7th son of a 7th son, still a lively belief in Irish folklife, to take a prominent example, derive from beliefs originating further east. And that, of course, it will be gradually dying out because not a lot of people have enough kids anymore to have 7 sons. That's maybe what we might call a good Catholic-sized family. You don't have to go back too far either, probably a couple of generations, when families of 8, 10, and 12, and 14, and 15 weren't. I mean, when you got to 15, maybe, that was seen as excessive. And they all lived in small cottages. Incredible stuff, really. Perhaps inspired by the 7-day week, Irish narrators often measure time in 7s. The Tuatha De Danann do not tire if they fight for 7 years. For 7 years, weapons are prepared under the charge of Lú Lámhfhada. Mac Daho's pig is nurtured for 7 years on the flesh of 50 cows. The first fire at Tara lasts 7 years. When Fuamnach transforms Ethane into an insect, she is blown about for 7 years. Of course, what happens to her then? She's blown in the window of Newgrange onto the tunic of Angus Og. Among the children of Tyrone, when the brothers kill Cian in the form of a pig, they bury his body for 7 years. Or is it that they buried his body 7 times? I think it was 7 times. The earth refused to take it the first 6 and yielded it back up again until the 7th time. And that is from the sons of Tyrone, the fate of the sons of Tyrone, which sons Lou charges with impossible tasks, like Jason and the Argonauts, for killing his father Cian. Anyway, I digress. At Loch Riach, white sheep are cast into the water every 7th year at the proper hour. In early modern tradition, a mysterious tree is seen at Loch Gur every 7 years when the lake dries. Flaish had several cows that fed Ailill's army every 7th day. Alwyn and Brinley Rees argue that the hero Fergus seems to have symbolised the week, as all measurements of his huge body are given in 7s, the so-called heptads of Fergus. But 7 is also associated with King Conchobar mac Nessa, or Conor mac Nessa, as 7 prophets foretold his advent 7 years before his birth. He attained the kingship at the end of his 7th year, and the feast he gave at Samhain lasted for 7 days. 7 attaches itself to other Ulster heroes in measures other than time. Cuchulainn, for instance, has 7 fingers, 7 toes, and 7 pupils in his eye. Remembering that the Thebes of Boeotia has 7 gates, as does the city on the Nile named for it, we should not be surprised that many Irish spaces are also defined by 7s. The dún of Cuchulainn's Amazonian teacher Scáthach, on the Isle of Skye, has 7 walls. 7 Ulster champions carry the lath to build Brickrew's Hall. And there are 7 doors in Dodjaraga's hostel. Other numbers used extensively in discernible patterns are 9, 12, 17, 27, and 33. Curious associations accrue to almost every number under 50, such as the 31 islands visited by the voyager Mile Dún. But the patterns appear so infrequently as to limit our ability to assign a meaning to them. Above 50, prominent citations of specific numbers are not common and may not draw upon widespread shared assumptions about unspoken powers. The early Christian church in Ireland, for example, sometimes measured time in an 84-year cycle, a choice more likely explained in ancient learning, much of it originating far from Ireland's shores. I think that 84 years is as a planetary derivation, doesn't it? It's something to do with the orbit of Jupiter combined with the orbits of the moon, the cycles of the moon. Or am I mistaken? 84. I must look that up again. A fuller dictionary of Irish numbers has yet to be written. Remember, this was published in 2001, 20 years ago. But the reader here will have already discerned the directions such a study would take. Ireland, while an island, never ceases to be a part of Europe. While we cannot ignore antecedents of Irish cultural expressions found elsewhere on the continent or in Western Asia, the defining elements of that culture are found in the island itself. When the Irish were themselves alone, they could name the world through their own words, and they could count it in their own numbers. Holding up 3 fingers to signify 3 items or 3 divinities is something any human could do. But in Ireland, the 3 alone, or represented in a commonplace trifoliated clover, could also signal the anticipations of nationhood. And therein ends James McKillop's wonderful primer of Irish numbers. And yes, like the rest of you, I'm sure I speak on your behalf when I say I'd love to see more. And I'd love to see the, what does he call it? I'd love to see the full dictionary of Irish numbers being published. So that's it for the moment. Unless there are questions or comments, I'll have a read through the comments anyway and see if I've missed anything. Not sure what's next. There'll be a book talk this week. I have to get back on track with book talk. I've been a little bit slovenly of late. Some good news on the publishing front is that I have completed a draft design of Return to Segish. Return to Segish was finished in 2019, finished in terms of writing, and it has been edited and proofread. I now have a draft design done. I have to design a cover for it. This evening I've been writing an introduction or a prologue or a preface to it. And we'll soon, at some point, perhaps in the next month, in the next few weeks or so, we'll soon start thinking about pre-orders for signed copies when I get quotes from printers, which I will do in the next week or fortnight. So that'll be the first major publishing project of 2021. I did say, I hinted in a couple of episodes that it would be my hope that I will publish a minimum of 3 books this year. The other one I'm still writing, and the other one is a photo book, which I have to put a lot of thought into in order to get that right, and that's potentially going to be a very expensive project. In the meantime, I actually still have a few Mythical Ireland 2021 calendars left. In case you haven't had acquired yours, they're still available on the website. I still have stock. We can ship worldwide. So there's the link where you can acquire your 2021 calendar. I'd be happy to offload them onto you guys to see them adorning your walls and to see you counting out the days of the coming year on them. Hopefully it'll be a good one. And maybe you can mark in the individual episodes of Live Irish Myths and Book Talk as they appear, along with the occasional impromptu live. That's going to be a little bit more difficult at the moment because of the lockdown, and we are restricted to a 5-kilometre limit. There's talk today about that limit being decreased to a 2-kilometre limit, which means that the only really ancient site that I could visit within distance of my house here is Millmount, and I'm perfectly happy to do that. You might have seen the live broadcast from there on New Year's Day, a very bright but cold day. Do return every Monday, says Paul Gowan. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. I will do my very best to. Mark Gordon says, thanks. Mark, I'm not sure if I said hello to you earlier. Happy New Year to you. Kathy Maydeo says, thanks. Going to have to start saving up just for more books, says Aaron. Yeah. So between one thing and another, we'll keep you busy, you know. And the main thing in the meantime is to everybody keep safe. A lot of you will have to self-isolate or at least restrict your movements. Don't forget to, you know, wash your hands regularly and use the old hand sanitizer. I have a bottle here on the desk. To wear a mask if you're out. I was in the post office today, and there were 3 people, young people, probably late teens, early 20s, in the queue, not wearing masks. And with the way that the figures have gone, I think anybody who doesn't is crazy. But anyway, let's keep the fingers crossed for the vaccine. Also, the coughing and sneezing etiquette, keep your distance from people outside. And just keep yourself safe that you can keep coming back. It's not easy to get around for people from the flats, says Desiree in Louisiana. Yeah, some people have additional challenges as well. And that's not easy. So definitely wear the mask anyway. That's the most important thing. Have a good week, everybody. And isn't it wonderful, says Valerie. We have tech to keep us connected. Yes, despite it all. Absolutely it is. Amen to that. Serena Swift, I'll die with a book list I will never finish. I think we all will, you know. We'll have to do a Zoom again. Last one was great fun. Thank you, Anthony. Lovely too. That's Tom King. Yes, indeed, we will. I'm still awaiting word from Eddie Lenihan. I have invited him, as you know, to participate. I think that would best be done as a Zoom episode. I don't think we can rely on Facebook to bring 2 people onto the screen together. It didn't work with Morgan, and we can't rely on it. So Eddie would be a Zoom if and when he happens. I'll let you know anyway, of course, well in advance. So I don't know what the topic of next week's will be, but keep tuned to the Mythical Ireland Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Mythical Ireland. If you're on the internet, if you're on the app, just search for Mythical Ireland. And while you're there, join the Mythical Ireland community, which is a separate page where you guys can post and interact in a way where you can post, certainly. Speaking of which, I better check that to see if everybody's behaving themselves. Anyway, Slán go fóill tóg bogé Ichawa Kolosov. More Zoom, yes, says Aaron. Yeah, it's the way to do those, isn't it, when somebody else is joining you? Hope I didn't miss any important comments on YouTube. I'll hang on for the YouTubers for a moment. In the meantime, Facebookers, good evening to you. We'll see you soon. God bless. Take it easy. And we'll hang around on YouTube for a second because I think I might have missed one or two, did I? Mark Rhodes Taylor is in the house. Hello, Mark. Very good talk tonight. Thank you, Anthony. Well, I was reading most of that, Mark. That is James McKillop's excellent work. He really is brilliant. I got 3 different books for Yule, says Miriam Eckhart. Well, I hope you enjoy them. Crispin Kane says that 84 years is the orbit of Uranus, which wasn't discovered until some Brit eyed it through a telescope in 1781. No, I think I still think it's got something to do with older cycles, planetary cycles, but I'd have to go back and do more reading on that. Joan McH, Slán August Colasov. See you, Joan. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. Lillian Cruz, hello and goodbye to you. Thank you, Sue Prenter. No problem. Alyanach says, more on tying, Anthony. Good evening, happy new year, and good evening and good night to you. Magot AJ says, love your work, cycles within cycles. Everything is cyclical in a way, isn't it? You know, we tend to think of life as linear, you know, but cyclical seems to be in the way that it was envisioned in ancient times. I'm very sorry, my dinner is repeating on me. Yeah, some folks I've met, says Naomi from Ireland, claim that the fifth Cuiga is a reference to the other world of the Sidhe. I don't know if this is true, but I love it. Yeah, well, the other suggestion is the fifth province is the magical, the mystical fifth province is the Stone of Divisions, the Isle Namirin itself, representing that access point to the Sidhe world, you know, the umbilicus hiberniae, the navel of Ireland, you know, the belly button, where basically this world connects with the Sidhe world. So Mark says Cuchulain's helmet was supposed to have had 9 sides. I didn't know that. And there are 4 treasures of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Well pointed out, Mark. Good stuff. Like and subscribe, says Redan. Yes, absolutely. Good evening to you all. Thanks for tuning in. See you for the next one. This is Live Irish Myths 133. We'll see you for 134. Book Talk coming up next in the next couple of days. Keep an eye out for it. Good night.